Oh, hello there and welcome to Rising Borno, the path to prosperity. I'm Sagir Ibrahim. Borno State in the last 13 years suffered insecurity by Boko Haram insurgents, leading to thousands of people being killed, making the state one of the most insecure in the northeast of Nigeria. However, as years passed and efforts of successive governments, most especially that of Governor Professor Babagana Zulum, Borno State, known as the home of peace, is experiencing the restoration of peace and security. Taking the mantle of leadership, Governor Zulum made security a top priority in his years in office and is still making a difference in governance by supporting security agencies to combat terrorism and protecting lives and property. The governor in his first tenure supported security agencies in the fight against insurgency with over 1,000 surveillance vehicles and operational logistics to the military, the DSS, police and other paramilitary agencies in Borno. In 2022, Governor Zulum donated 18 security vehicles to the military and the civilian joint task force for increased presence and patrols on Dikwa Gomburu Road. He also awarded 300 million naira worth of scholarships to 300 orphans of civilian joint task force personnel who paid the supreme price in the combat against terrorists. He also increased the allowances of the civilian JTF by over 50%.
Of the Boko Haram. But most especially, those that are committing violent atrocities within the different environments of criminals. They are not even Boko Haram. So, government is ever looking to support them, especially the armed relations within the government. The 25195 Condola also. So let's see how we can follow them and then defeat them square. They just want to make noise and then go back to their enemies in order to spoil the youth, in order to undermine the successes that are so far been recorded.
Professor Zulum, the people's governor, in his zeal to end insurgency in the state, adopted the non-kinetic approach called Sulhu, which also supported surrendering repentant Boko Haram members, leading to thousands of the insurgents laying down their arms.
Well, actually, us as a civil society organization were involved in peace building, and especially within the context of recent conflict that is happening. I think I can say we are the only grassroots organization that have been working for over 2 decades in this community in terms of issue of peace building. Well, the 13 years of Boko Haram conflict has really caused a lot of devastation. As we all know, a lot of damages were carried out. But of recent, I think there's a game changer, and that game changer is nothing but the recent aspect, the decision taken by the governor, where a town hall meeting was called to ask for people's opinion to accept the repentant Boko Haram. I could remember as a civil society where I'm also involved, I was given the stage to also present the civil society position. And since then, I think over thousands of repentant have now surrendered. And this has really changed the dynamic, and then it has really changed the game in terms of the peace process. There's a reduction in attack, there are reduction in the killings and then destruction that is happening, and there is peace. I think I could not remember the last time killings that happened within this community. All this is attributed to the effort of the governor under the dynamic leadership of His Excellency Professor Babagana Omar Zulum, and then the effort and then the critical support given by the stakeholders, like the civil society, the local and international community, and then the UN agencies. I think for me, the communities are currently responsive. For us as a center, we decided to even carry out a perception survey in partnership with British Council when we discuss. They are interested to find out what does the community think about this peace process. So we conducted a survey in Gambaru community and then Konviga local government, where there are massive return of those repentant Boko Haram. And it may surprise you to know that a larger percentage of the people are excited about this. because it's now a return process where people are now going back to their normal life. I think the district head told me he drive from Maiduguri to Kondoga 10 o'clock in the night. These are things that doesn't happen before. Well, as usual, as a civil society, we are just like Oliver Twist. We are asking, we are always advocating. I think what we're suggesting, and the said government is really listening, is about aggressive community engagement. You know, the destruction that happened in 13 years, for it to end in just a day is a marriage. So I think the community need to be contacted, consulted gradually. A lot of healing process need to be taking place. Town hall meetings should be organized when people should be listening and people will be asked their opinion, of which it has started. We have one held here in Maiduguri, and I think we're urging the stakeholders now, especially the Minister of Information under the leadership of the Professor Tal, we are seeing the changes now, taking the discussion and then community engagement at the local level. I think with this, we can have the peace that we want. But one most important thing is getting the peace is not only the effort of the government or security agencies. We all have a stake. I have a stake as a civil society. In the traditional role, I have a stake. The media have a stake. The women group has a stake. The youth group have to have a stake. So I think we all have to collectively come together to ensure that Borno rise again, and so that Borno can have its lost glory. Under the leadership of the governor, I could remember the first meeting I had with him after his inauguration. He said he can invest all the resources in the state on security if that will bring peace. And now you can see a new model of leadership where the security agencies are massively supported. This is the only state where I see the government buying 20, 30 trucks of lorries, of van, of hillocks to the security means. So I think a lot of investment are carried out in the security formation, and any security officer that thinks he has not gotten what he wants to do his work in Maiduguri, I think he's not been so very sincere, because the government is really investing, especially with this security trust fund that we have, a special fund delegated for this kind of a thing. A lot of things are being carried out on that. And then his influence also in ensuring that the citizens of Borno State are now recruited into the security formation. That is telling you in the 5, 10, 20 years, you're going to see Borno citizens now occupying good position. And that will have direct relationship with the level of the fees that we're going to have here in our constituencies. So I think a lot of investment were carried out in the aspect of leadership in the security sectors.
The issue of security in Borno State is no longer hidden. Everybody knows what we went through in Borno State, and we want to actually, even on the onset, appreciate our gallant military officers and other security personnel, and also to our very respected Honorable His Excellency the Governor of Borno State, who has been in the forefront providing support to the security men, as well as building the resilience of the people of Borno State to actually face this challenge and then make sure that the challenge is over. We have seen in recent years how the government of Borno State actually supported the security agencies. We have seen how he promptly actually be there whenever there is any need for him to be there, either attack by insecurities to the security personnel or attack on communities, where he actually went there on his own, giving his own support to the community as well as building the resilience of the people. We have seen how he committed the government resources, where he provided a lot of materials and equipments to the personnel. Notably among them, you can see over 200 vehicles for the securities were provided, both police, armies, and what have you, to combat this thing. Among these vehicles, including APC vehicles that were also provided to them. And we have seen how he has also, to boost the morale of the securities, being prompt in actually attending to the families of security officers that were either injured or that were killed in this insurgency. So all these are efforts towards him building the securities for us to get the secured place. And God's willing, this his efforts has paid. Before his coming, there are a lot of places where you cannot be able to reach. And when he comes, these places were open, like from Maiduguri to Baga, Maiduguri to Gamborungala, Maiduguri to Dambua, Maiduguri Bama Banki, Maiduguri Bama Goza. All this, he actually had a very much impact on the securities who also were able to double and open all these places. So I want to believe His Excellency has done a lot in that respect, even though there are still few challenges that are remaining, which I believe with our own, all of us coming together, we may overcome it. Another aspect that was also very outstanding is the Sulhu method he brought in, that is the Borno model, where it saw the surrendering of many repentant Boko Harams that were come out. This is a very, very amazing, and we actually supported that, despite the fact that it also brought about new challenges also. That is how the community should accept these people to remain with them. It's a challenge. But however, when you are actually having somebody who is going against you and he decided that that person will surrender, even at the international law or international engagement, war engagement, you have to receive him and see how you can do with it. So I think this is also another very, very much important aspect where we saw the surrendering of over 50,000 Boko Harams who surrendered over. Some of them were already been de-radicalized and then even been sent back to their communities and what have you. So all these things are actually a positive attribute of His Excellency, a positive way of actually attending to the security personnel as well as carrying the society on his own.
The year 2023 also witnessed tremendous support from His Excellency as he released 9 armored trucks to the Borno Police Command and the sum of 10 million naira as relief package for wounded soldiers injured during the conflict with insurgents. He also donated 50 patrol vehicles and 300 motorbikes to the different security agencies.
The Borno State government has been supporting both the kinetic and non-kinetic dimensions of internal security. The kinetic dimension pertains to the support to the operatives of the Operation Hardin K and other military and security formations that are stationed in the state. These defense and security institutions have their own battle plans. They are basically engaged in the fight against insurgency and terrorism in the state. So what the state government does is to provide the necessary support as a subnational entity. We know that defense and security are actually exclusive matters in the federal system, but what the state government does is actually to provide auxiliary support, being a subnational entity in terms of logistics support, especially personnel carriers, vehicles, motorcycles that will ease the operations in the field. We also provide support to wounded soldiers. In August, the state government provided 10 million naira, for example, to wounded soldiers at the Memalari Barrack, being the headquarters of Operation Hardin. These are some of the few, so many kinetic supports that we provide to our armed forces and security agencies. On the non-kinetic dimension, we've realized the importance of investment in social, economic, educational, psychological aspects of human survival. So the state government is investing heavily in education, in vocational training, in healthcare provision, in agriculture. Heavy investment is ongoing in agriculture. Vast tracts of land are being cleared for communities to engage in agriculture. And in addition, or side by side with that, the state government has taken a decision to disband all the IDP camps and return the IDPs to their ancestral homes. And as a precursor to the relocation or return of the IDPs back to their ancestral homes, the state government has taken the step of clearing land and ensuring security of those communities where the people are returned. So as we speak, this rainy season, a lot of the IDP camps have been disbanded and the IDPs have returned and they are engaged, very, very busy engaged in farming. And this year we expect that the agricultural yield will rise because the IDPs have returned to commence farming in most of the local government areas, with the exception of about 2 or 3 local governments, that is Abadam and Guzamala, which we are working very hard to relocate IDPs in the coming year. So these are some of the support at the kinetic and non-kinetic levels. We also provide support to the civilian JTF, which is a kind of community watch institution that was established by law of the Borno State government. And these are auxiliary institutions that the state has funded. We provide uniform, we provide structure, military-like, police-like structure that will govern the civilian JTF as a system. We have system of reward and punishment. We try to give them basic training in community security. And they have become very useful as a backup support to the kinetic efforts of the defense and security institutions. They hold the ground where military and police have carried out their work, and that has become very, very useful. We also provide support to agro rangers and hunters. These are all age-hallowed institutions that have survived over the years. And what the state government has done is to resuscitate, revamp, and fund, provide the incentive, salaries, and wages, and welfare, and also basic equipment to those agencies, traditional agencies, security agencies, to provide reinforcement and to provide auxiliary support to our kinetic efforts. In addition, the state government has also provided support to traditional institutions and local communities in terms of security awareness, in terms of equipping them with the necessary knowledge and the capacity and the capabilities, especially small telephones and so on, and gadgets, so that they can communicate easily with military and police and other security formations in times of distress. And they have become very useful source of human intelligence and of technological intelligence. So traditional institutions, as we know, they have been, very deeply embedded in the psyche and in the cultural systems of Borno State. So some argue that all the security challenges that we are facing today is partly because we have abandoned the role of traditional institutions in providing community security. In the past, 50, 40 years ago, the security of communities was under the firm control of traditional institutions. And if we can return them back to that role, some argue that they will really, really go a long way in providing the necessary security that we need. So the state government is investing in that by bringing back the role of traditional institutions as an auxiliary platform for providing communal security. Associated with that, of course, are the communities, the community leaders. They are they are together. The traditional leaders and community leaders, they are two sides of the same coin. So we provide support to those traditional rulers in the light of the ongoing argument that there is acute need to revamp the role of traditional rulers as providers of security. We talk of state security. So this, we get carried away by state security, forgetting that state security cannot function if we abandon traditional security, traditional institutions, because they are also part and parcel of the state. Here, we are talking about whole of the society approach to security. In addition, the Borno State government has invested heavily in crime fighting and crime law enforcement. In the first instance, the state has passed into law several legislations on administration of criminal justice and on juvenile law. These laws have really supported the police in terms of arrest, processing, and prosecution of criminals, especially the Malians. Of recent, we have an infestation of young people parading in enclaves and in communities and within the urban metropolis of Maiduguri. They are parading with all sorts of funny characters and criminal tendencies. And until we pass the juvenile law into law, it had become very difficult to process them. But with the passing of with the ascension of His Excellency of the new administration of criminal justice law and the juvenile law, the police forces have now found new reinforcement in terms of legal backing in order to quickly process criminals or suspected criminals. So these are some of the achievements of the Borno State government in area of security. As you know, the Ministry of Information and Internal Security is a newly established ministry. It's reformative from the former Ministry of Information, Culture and Home Affairs. Internal security is now added, and this has really gone a long way in galvanizing and in harmonizing the security strategy of the state in terms of its intention to support both the kinetic and the non-kinetic aspects. The non-kinetic, the state is actually on top of the game in terms of non-kinetic approach because it has invested heavily in schools, in healthcare institutions, vocational training institutions, and the state is willing to also provide support even in areas where that facility is federal. For example, federal roads, the state is willing to go a long way in providing necessary support in order to even carry some of the federal responsibilities, because the federal center is doing so much, is overloaded. So the state is basically providing auxiliary support to federal institutions in order to secure the state. In 2024, we expect the Borno State to be safer, to be more developed, to be more harmonious, and to be ready for the restoration or to be more, at advanced stage of the restoration project of His Excellency Governor Babagana Umar Azum. There is a restoration project ongoing, and the restoration project has covered all the sectors: agriculture, health, education, infrastructure, urban renewal, renewal of livelihoods in the rural areas. Is an all-encompassing. The aim is that in the next few years, the state should be at the forefront of exporting agricultural and forest raw materials and processed, also a hub for industrial production of a lot of the things that we import today. So Borno in the coming year will, inshallah, be more prosperous and more peaceful and more developed, inshallah.
Internal security is truly the governor's objective, aiming to end terrorism and restore Borno as the home of peace in Nigeria. Thank you for watching, and join us again next week. I'm Sagir Ibrahim.